Hello, everybody. I am Angry Bird, and we've reached it. We've reached the grand final of the Steel Division League Season 5, Division 1, the tippity top of the mountain in terms of Steel Division 2, and the two competitors we have are Gonzo and Quadri. So, if you missed the semi-finals, well, I guess it's a bit of a spoiler because you know who's going to be in the final. But if you still want to see the games, then remember to hit the subscribe button. So first of all, you don't miss the action, and then go back and watch some of the previous videos on the channel. Let's just have a quick recap of how the players came to this position. The league table. So what? 6 games apiece, I think it is. 5 games apiece in the league table. Both players finishing top of their group. So a really deserved final, I think. Both players top of the group. Both players in the final, I guess. It's the final, I think, that fans would have wanted to see. Let's just have a quick look at how they progressed through the semi-finals. Unfortunately, that is not the correct picture, I'm afraid. Just bear with me one moment and let me see whether I can do some hot editing. Okay, so hopefully that little bit of behind the scenes editing didn't affect the cast too much. And yeah, we can see their route through to the semi-finals. Through the to the finals. Both players finishing top of the group automatically got a bye directly into the semi-finals. Gonzo defeated Karma 2-0 and Quadri defeated Nilla 2-0. So both players top of the group, both players winning the semi-finals, both games in the best of 3 in their semi-finals, and have found themselves now in the grand final, the big one, the game that decides all in Season 5, Division 1. Let's have a look at the two decks today. Gonzo on the left-hand side, he is playing the 28th Jaeger on balanced income, and if you're returning to the channel after having a break, you haven't seen many of the videos lately, Gonzo playing balanced income might be a bit of a surprise to you. But he did play that income type in the previous game that we saw against Karma. And yeah, I mean, he's just a fantastic player at Steel Division 2. So I don't think income kind of matters. Previously, we know him as an aggressive player playing Vanguard, but he is now playing balanced, and he's just an all-round superstar in Steel Division 2. So the income, whatever income he plays, he's going to be amazing at it, no matter what. In terms of the deck itself, 102 infantry units. That's actually a really that's a decently large amount of infantry units. I mean, we used to see a hell of a lot more infantry units back when we had the infantry spam meta, and we were talking like 140, 160 squads. But now we're down to a reasonable 102 squads of infantry. We also see 12 Stug 3Gs, and that's going to be the main threat for Quadri in terms of the armoured power. We don't see any... No, we do see 3 Marder 2s as well, and 2 Stur 42s. But yeah, so a limited number of armoured units for Quadri to deal with. Mostly he's got to deal with the infantry, and it's going to be interesting to see him do that. We'll have to see how good Gonzo is from the skies using his Focke-Wulfs. I think if you chat to him in the Discords, I think he kind of self-admits that he isn't really the best player when it comes to air micro, so that could be an opportunity for Quadri to exploit. Let's switch over and have a look at Quadri's deck. Today, he is on the right-hand side playing the second Blinde on Vanguard income, so playing the Free French Forces. So we see plenty of AMM8s early on, and a lot of Shermans in this deck. So the Shermans are definitely there for infantry support. They can take out the Stugs, fairly decently. So I actually think Quadriu's made quite a good choice here picking a Sherman division because he's got to deal with a lot of infantry. I mean, Gonzo has 102 squads, whereas Quadriu only has 58 squads. So that is quite a bit different. And if you look at it, I mean, he's got 4 cards in A phase. He's only got he's got no C phase infantry at all. So Quadriu is going to go hard at it, fast and hard on Vanguard income, everything in A phase with a alpha strike as such, I imagine. And Gonzo, if he can last through A and B phase, I definitely think he will be in a good position, because just looking at the infantry matchup here, it's going to be really hard for Quadriu if he, goes beyond sort of 20 minutes into the C phase sort of part of this battlefield. So those Shermans, I think he's going to have to use them to great effect early on in the game. They're 2 stars. If he can take out a few of the Stugs quickly and use those Shermans to help out his infantry in their engagements against the Jaegers, then yeah, he could be in for a really good time. We got the DB-73s in the air tab, and the Spitfire is going to be covering the skies. The Mark 9E there for the Free French. The Cannon 57mm are also, fantastic against those Stugs. I actually kind of think maybe the 3 cards there might be a little bit of an overkill, but I don't know. Maybe he could have taken out a card there and replaced it with something else, but to be fair, not too much. Perhaps something in the support tab or the recon tab. But I'm just conscious that Gonzo doesn't really have a hell of a lot of armoured units. And you can use your Shermans at close range in the armoured engagements. So perhaps maybe all 3 cards isn't fully necessary. Right, we are going to get the game underway and head on in. So let's just recap. On the left-hand side in blue, we have Gonzo. He is playing the 28th Jaeger on balanced income. And on the right-hand side in red, we have Quadriu. He is playing the 2nd Blinde on Vanguard income. He's going to go hard, he's going to go fast, and it looks like a northern assault through the forests, as well as a southern, possibly a southern assault, but I think it's more likely to be up in there in the north. He's got a lot more Shermans up there. I think the south is more of a covering force, but wow, look at the number of forces coming in from Gonzo down south. So I think Gonzo's expecting the push in the south, whereas Quadriu looks like he's making it up north. This could be interesting how this turns out. So Gonzo does have a Panzerjäger in here. That could be pretty key to take out any close range forces, but Quadriu also has the bazookas at his disposal. Again, it's another anti-tank weapon to take out those Stugs at close range. That's why I'm wondering whether we needed all 3 of those Cannon 57mm cards. 1 minute 30 into this game, and we've not really had an engagement yet, so both players perhaps, playing it safe early on. We've got the M8 engaging Ersatztruppen moving over the open ground. We got a 30 cal moving into position at the edge of the forest there that will help out against those Ersatztruppen. They could be in cover. They could be in trouble, and if Gonzo does lose this Ersatztruppen, moving to the compound, it's having to fall back. He could lose that flag, which could be an early lead for Quadriu. Plenty of cuds in this game, but let's see what actually happens. The Char M4A2s pushing up the north. We've got an M10 tank destroyer in here as well. The Panzerjäger is in position, going to use its Panzerschreck to fire off, and immediately, I mean, just look at the micro on both of these players. Gonzo is there immediately to micro that back. No messing around. He's all over the map. The southern position, both players taking up their respective sides. No real movement there. And the Ersatztruppen have been forced back in the centre, so Quadriu gets that early 13-11 lead. Let's see how he exploits the push through the northern centre forest. Gonzo moving in the Jaegers, and these are pretty decent at close range with those 6 MP40s, am I calling it right? 7 MP40s on those squads. So Quadriu doesn't want to engage directly at close range in the 100-meter distance in this heavy forest. I think that's what he needs his half-tracks for, to help out the Sapeurs. They do have the frag grenades though, so that is going to be one thing. But yeah, Gonzo dispatching that squad of Sapeurs relatively easily. Quadriu using the smoke up north to cover the push of the Flamers. And look at the M4A2s just coming around the sides here to try and hit these Jaeger Pioneers on the flank. DB73 straight into the action, going to drop on the Jaegers, and I wouldn't want to be underneath that. It looks like the Jaeger there got away with it fairly reasonably, only lost a couple of men, but it is forced to fall back. And the Shermans should actually finish them off as soon as they leave the forest and head into the open ground. We got more Shermans on the way from Quadriu, as well as the leader Sherman to buff up these frontal Shermans to 3-star. We got some Marder 2s heading in though for Gonzo, and they're going to fight at long range. I think he perhaps brought them in to cover this hill because those Shermans were coming in this kind of distance, and if they sit in that position they can cover this reinforcement road. So the Marders can, you know, sit at decently long range. They've got a Pack 40 on the top of that, and yeah, they can do some heavy damage. So they are, you know, cheap reinforcement as well, only 50 points. Here's the Marder 2 engagement. Looks like we missed the shot onto the leader tank, but it is falling back. Crew panicked. Another bounce perhaps might go down with the next shot. Here it comes. Sight damage. Those APCRs getting the criticals, but the leader tank did manage to fall out, fall back in time. Looks like Quadriu has taken the position up north. He's coming in with more reinforcements. We're going to see them in the moment. I don't really want to take my eyes off the action right now. The Marders, I think, good choice for Gonzo. Here's the Shermans coming around the top, and the Marders are in position again to tackle them. So we'll have to see how the engagement goes here. They're using their HE to take care of the infantry. Here's a shot from the leader Sherman there. But yeah, taken down. It was heavily sight damaged. DB73 coming in here to take down these Marders from the skies. They are open top vehicles. Here come the bombs. Does take down one of them, but Gonzo managed to move his other two away in time. Here are the reinforcements I talked about. The Pioneers and the Voltagears in the M2 half-track. I believe that's the M2. No, the M5A1 half-track with the 50 cal on the top. And look at all those 50 cals get involved. The Shermans from the hill and the half-tracks decimating Gonzo's infantry, immediately falling them back. And both players fully invested in this northern side. I'm not really seeing movement down south on the minimap. So, yeah, both players are invested fully in the north. You can see that Gonzo, even leaving troops, sat there behind the lines ready to be deployed onto the front line. So you know he's concentrating at his full maximum 100%. First up 3G onto the battlefield up north. Going to engage the Shermans at long distance. And again, you know, that's where you want the tanks to be engaging Shermans at long distance. So the Master Gonzo getting it right constantly. Bouncers, though, from that Stug 3G, they're struggling at this ultra-long distance to get the penetration. Another bounce there. Will they get the hit on the third one? Another bounce. Those Stugs not quite getting the penetrating hit. That is the difficulty you find at long range. I mean, the Sherman should not really be able to penetrate the Stug at all, but the Stug's got a much greater chance of penetrating that Sherman at, you know, 2 kilometers kind of range. Yeah, there we see it. Does take down one on the hill. Urzat Strupen coming in for Gonzo to try and strengthen this town. I mean, look at the infantry forces heading in for Quadriu. I think he's swinging south. He's trying to head into this town. At the moment, he's got a couple of 2-star Jaegers in his way. He really needs to use those M5 half-tracks as best as he can. The Stug 3G still engaging the Shermans on the hill. Gonzo brings in a second one to help out here. And I think Quadriu's kind of making a bit of a mistake, you know, having a pitch battle against these Stugs at long range. I feel like they're never going to penetrate these Stugs. They're just kind of using the HE power. Eventually the Stug will go down just through sheer weight of HE hitting that tank. But he's not going to get a penetrating hit. In comes the Cannon 57mm, and that one will do the job. But it's going to take a little bit of time to move through. Down goes the Stug finally. Just sheer weight of fire, I believe. But yeah, like I was saying, the Cannon 57mm wants to make it through to the edge of this tree line here, but it's going to take a little moment to get through there. And here's the assault on the town. The Voltigeurs and the Pioneers coming through the forest, and now reinforcing Voltigeurs coming just straight down the road. All of Gonzo's armoured forces are trained on the northern position, so that road is free for the advance, and the Jaeger Pioneer Führers are having to hold onto the front line here up against the Voltigeurs. They do toss that grenade and force the Voltigeurs back, but the bazooka also taking out a marder there. Voltigeurs heading into the town, unloading, and those Ersatztruppen won't be able to hold this town, especially against the M5 half-track. One of them goes down there, and I think that was still actually a handheld grenade thrown by the Ersatztruppen. Those half-tracks are open top, so they are susceptible to the infantry grenades. It looks like Gonzo has made a small push forwards here with Ersatztruppen into the centre, but for now Quadriu is holding that off. I think he reloaded some of his Voltigeurs here and just moving them forward again and then unloading them. Unless I took my eyes off the ball for a moment. Looks like Gonzo's back to where his other Stug, and he's moving it round to try and support this town, so this reinforcement road can't be used any further. But it does mean that all of the units up here on the northern side can start firing on this reinforcement road. Yeah, we see the BMW go down with the Jaeger Flammenwerfers having to unload early. Look how close this Marder 2 is to the action. I'm very surprised about this. It does take down the half-track, but the sappers are pushing in with that bazooka, and one more building hop, and that Marder 2 is bound to go down, but Quadriu not quite noticing in time, and Gonzo, I think, is going to manage to pull himself out of the line of fire just in the nick of time as that sappers hops forward in the building. Looks like we got a DB-73 heading into the centre. And he's going to take down this Pak 3850. Must have got a shot off at some point. Although, no, sorry. The target was the Jaeger MG42 there. Look at Quadriu. He is a little bit less well equipped in the centre. Like we said early in the cast, he's going to push hard. He's going to push fast. And obviously the north of is his chosen area. So he's trying to be as efficient as possible and cover the remaining flags with as minimal forces as possible. We do have an M4A2 off-map vehicle up north. I'm not quite sure whether that's used its first barrage. I can't quite see from this point any major artillery, shell holes on the battlefield. Gonzo looks like he's preparing to take back this town with the Jaegers. The Jaeger Führer sitting back there in the Kubel, and the Stug 3G finally takes up a position to cover the road, it seems. Firing off against the Sherman. This kind of range, the Stug 3G is still better off in the engagement, and that's why Quadriu is trying to push forward to get as close as possible. But he is exposing himself to the second Stug 3G and missed there. A hit on the side armour, and that should go down. Oh, a big hit there, but it doesn't go down. Quite surprising. Gonzo launches his attack into that centre town. We got Shermans up on the hill covering as well. Stu 42 goes down up north. The leader Sherman is not in a fantastic position, but it has now turned frontal armour. Stug 3G reinforcing up in the north, and Gonzo's push in the town has not been successful. He has destroyed some units in there, but he is having to fall back those Jaegers, and sappers coming in to reinforce here and potentially take up a flag, a further 2 flags that Quadriu doesn't have at the moment. He is 15-9 up. The Pak 3850 getting involved against the leader Sherman there as well. DB-73 coming in, trying to hit those Stug 3Gs. HS-129 was called in from Gonzo, but he's turning it back around. I think when he saw that DB-73 come in, he didn't want to he didn't want to carry on through. But yeah, look at Gonzo's forces here that were coming in to kind of to try and recapture that flag. They are all falling back, and the Stug gets taken down in that light forest. Quadryu pushing on for more flags here. He's trying to use his half tracks in the front. The Ersatz-Truppen, they can't defeat them unless they get within that 50-meter range where they can use the handheld grenades. In comes the HS-129. Gonzo wants that leader Sherman taken down, and here are the shots coming in from the 75mm. 2 shots, I think it was, possibly 3, and the leader Sherman does go down. Perhaps command and control of Quadryu's forces will get hit now, and perhaps Gonzo will have the opportunity to capitalize on that important kill. The M10 tank destroyers are retreating back into the light forest, but Gonzo is there with his Jaegers. They have Panzerfaust. They can take them down, and the 37mm having to get involved at close range. Gonzo does recover this flag, though. He did lose it for a moment, and those Jaegers coming in here for the kill onto the reversing M10 tank destroyers. Gonzo orders the hit. Here it comes. Quadryu realizes the error of his ways, the trouble that he's in, but the Panzerfaust, I don't think the shot was launched. I don't think the shot was launched, and I think the HS-129 is going to have to finish the job off, and finish the job off it will. The Jaegers there not getting the shot off with the Panzerfaust, but the HS-129 coming up and clearing up those tank destroyers. Gonzo's got them both on the field right now. Quadryu calling in his DB-73 for an attack onto the flak 43-37mm, but it's the HS-129 B3s that worry me. Looks like Gonzo didn't quite get the attack onto the Shermans with his pass there, with the attack pass from that HS-129, but the second one is going to circle back around. Quadryu has the 16-8 right now, and Gonzo's got 9 minutes left on the clock to finish off the Shermans and try and get back into this game. Here comes the HS-129 for another pass, hitting the sidearm, and I can't believe that bounced. There's the kill. Will he get the second one? Yes, he will, and that's 4 tanks down in a matter of moments. The Bofors gun comes in here from Quadryu to try and help out, but it's a little bit too late. I think he needs some more AA on top of that hill, and perhaps he can start to ward off the HS-129 B3s, and perhaps he needs some of those Spitfires that he has in his deck to help him out, because those HS-129s at the moment are keeping Gonzo in this game. The Bofors pushing forwards off the top of that hill, trying to get as close as possible. And look at this half-track push forward, trying to pick up the kill on the 37mm, but the 37mm finally gets into action. Gonzo pushing forwards with the Jägerführer and the Pioneer, trying to rescue that 37mm. The Panzerfaust shot does finally get launched this time, and the half-track goes down. Jaeger's pushing in, but they do get hit in the transport by the 57mm, I think it was, covering that reinforcement road. The others do unload, but will they make it into the building in time, or will the M10 tank destroyer take them down with the 50 cal and the main gun there? They are pinned down, and I think those Jaegers might immediately surrender if Quadryu pushes forwards his sappers. Volunteers heading in now for Quadryu, and the DB-73 trying to take out this Pak 3850. Did strike earlier onto the MG42, but this time hitting the Pak 38. 16-8 still for Quadryu. Gonzo's under the cosh right now. 7 minutes left on the clock for him to reverse this, but we are soon to head into C phase, and Gonzo will start to get the income advantage. We see a lot of Jaegers on the front line, but the Sherman is just far enough away to avoid those Panzerfaust, and those 50 cals and the main gun on that Sherman is going to really hurt those Jaegers trying to move over the open ground. Look at the Bofors even getting involved, trying to hit the Ersatz-Truppen. We still have the off-map up here on the hill from Quadryu, and I'm not quite sure whether it's been used. Another HS-129 B3 assault comes in and does take care of the Sherman, but the Bofors is now in position, and I think that HS-129 is definitely going to be forced back, and Gonzo cannot rely on that anymore. It may well even go down, depends how heavily damaged it's going to get hit, depends how accurate that Bofors gun is and the men arming it. Looks like the HS-129 is going to get out in one piece, and Gonzo is going to be able to rely on that one more time, but you know, it is going to have to go back to base. It is going to get repaired and rearmed, and it's going to take a while for those HS-129s to come back out onto the battlefield. Another DB-73 attack launched by Quadriu. The Urzetstrupen are being forced to fall back, and Quadriu may well pick up this flag and re-establish a 15-9. Gonzo did bring it back to 14-10, and looks like he is making a push on the southern side, and the Pak 3850 there takes out the M8 that had been in that position from the very start of the game. I very much like this push. I'm not quite sure whether Quadriu realises the threat that he is under right now on the southern side, because no movements from the allies down here. Gonzo is completely unopposed in his micro down south, and he may well be able to push through to these flags back here before Quadriu even realises the trouble that he's in. 15-9 for Quadriu right now, though. He's got 11 minutes to remain in control of this game and defeat Gonzo, but it looks like Gonzo is perhaps pushing forwards into the town up north, but we do have the off-map strike about to come in, and all of Gonzo's infantry is in its path right now. Here it comes. Huge explosions, but I think most of the infantry moved out of the main bulk of the attack. But that town is being decimated. The Jaegers just about recovered it, but are now going to be forced to fall back once again. And Gonzo's really getting his thumb on that fallback button today in this game. That is for sure. Stub 3Gs take up position on the road. They're covering the open ground. Currently there's a half track holding the center of this map, but I think it is going to come under threat because there are a number of Stub 3Gs heading into the center now. And yeah, look at the south. Gonzo destroyed absolutely all of Quadriu's forces bar one two-man squad of pioneers left in here, and he's actually pushing up north with his Urzetstrupen, trying to capture more flags. Quadriu rushing in Voltigeurs to try and at least stem the tide of the push that Gonzo is making, but Quadriu still has the 16-8. 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left for Gonzo to get a grasp of this game and come back in. What a fantastic first game in this final between Gonzo and Quadriu. I cannot call it right now. 19 minutes in, 16-8 for Quadriu. 4 minutes left on the clock. Which way is it going to go? Gonzo looked like he was progressing well with the forces in the south. You know, this town is still under relatively light defense. I feel like Gonzo, it looks like he is trying to make a push in here. I feel like he can do it, but he is under massive threat up north as well. This flag up north is not in a fantastic position. We have another off map coming down from the M4A2 155mm artillery observer in that tank. The Supers coming in to reinforce that off map. We have another HS129 heading in, trying to defeat the Shermans that are in the light forest. Does take out one, and I think he's going to be happy with that. But there goes the timer. 20 minutes 45 seconds. I assume Gonzo surrenders. No, Quadriu surrenders. Wow. I'm kind of shocked by that. I thought Quadriu at least had more time to hold on. Unless there were changes in the south in the last sort of 30 seconds, 1 minute of that cast. Then Quadriu still had the lead. He still had the lead as far as I was aware. Perhaps I missed something in this cast, but that is a surprise to see Quadriu surrender at that point in the game. I mean, he is down in kills, but that was his tactic. His tactic was all about that vanguard rush, was all about the early play. And he had the flags. I mean, he had a 16-8 at one point. It wasn't, too far back in that game that he had the 15-9 there. Perhaps if Gonzo made a few flags up, it was a 14-10 or a 13-11, but I still thought Quadriu had a little bit more time. Maybe I just missed the end of that gameplay. Perhaps Gonzo did make a successful push in the southern and the southern central portion of the map, but I still think there was time for his reinforcements to come in there. That is a shock for me. a surrender from Quadryu, unexpected for sure, but Gonzo picks up the victory, 1,800 kills to 1,500 losses, there or thereabouts, so he does trade positive, but wow, the pressure that Quadryu put Gonzo under in that game was, wow, worthy of a finalist, that is for sure. And Gonzo takes the lead in this best of 5 final, 1-0. But Quadryu showing his abilities in this matchup. And if that game is anything to go by, then definitely do not miss the remaining games in this best of 5. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Don't miss the action. Let's have a look at the kill list. We will go to Gonzo as the winner of the game, and some early kills onto the half tracks with those Panzerjägers there. I think Gonzo with the micro. Oh, this was up in the northern town where they immediately, we had kind of like a brief delay in the engagement for about 2 minutes before Quadryu, kind of his forces managed to get through that light forest up on the north, but Gonzo was just in the town waiting, and as soon as that half track came forward, he instantly microed that Panzerjäger back. It was like he was sat there focusing and waiting for Quadryu to push forces into that Panzerjäger. I mean, it shows the skill and the awareness of these top players to be in exactly the right place at exactly the right time. The Marder 2s were then brought in from Gonzo to kind of stem the tide as almost a quick reaction force, a quick armoured reaction force at that, up to the northern side. And the Marders, I think they did enough. I mean, taking out one Sherman is enough for a Marder, and taking out a couple of half tracks and an infantry unit, I think that's enough there. They're still getting the M4 kill, not quite trading positive, but enough to take out those early Shermans, especially when they're 2-star. You know, you don't get a lot of 2-star Shermans on those cards, so it's burning through Quadriu's cards, and the faster you get through those Shermans, the better off you are in the long run. The other Marder coming in, clearing up a couple of half tracks. Yeah, I mean, you saw, I mean, I'm sure you saw how deadly the half tracks are. And this game was pre-burning Baltics. I'm not sure whether I mentioned this up to this point, but yeah, the half tracks were very strong, and they still are. So the Stug 3Gs taking out the half tracks there is still important. The Cannon 57mm up on the northern side did go down eventually to the HE fire of the Stug 3G, and kind of surprised Gonzo kind of kept in that engagement, but maybe it wasn't fantastic movement from Quadryu initially getting that 57mm into position. And here we have, I feel like it, the star of the show for Gonzo. The HS-129B3s just wielded expertly to pick off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of Quadriu's armoured forces there. The other HS-129 not quite getting the shots in, but still taking out a Sherman. And man, if this HS-129 wasn't alive, I'm pretty sure Quadriu would have won the game. Perhaps he was a little bit too late in calling in that AA, and we never saw one of those Spitfires to cover the skies. I mean, Gonzo didn't really have much AA of his own. He only had one Flak 43 37mm, so I feel like a combination of the Bofors and a single Spitfire up there in the north would have protected Quadriu's forces a lot more, and prevented those HS-129 strikes, even possibly shot down one of them with the Spitfires as it's retreating, because those HS-129s, you know, they are slow ducks in the sky. They are not speedy planes, so if you get a Spitfire on the back, it will take that thing down. Let's head further on, and the Panzerjäger does clear up a few more units, and then it's mostly 1-for-1 trades towards the end. Let's just have a look at the start for Quadryu. He does pick off a number of kills with those early 2-star Shermans, and picking up a Stug 3G and Marder 2. I mean, look at the trades here. Really fantastic value for money out of those Shermans, and that is the power of Shermans. The absolute efficiency you can get out of them is almost second to none, I would say, at times. As we look through, I think we did see in the kill count that Quadri did trade negative, so we're not seeing as outstanding kind of performances further on into the battle. But remember, Quadriu's game plan was all about those flags, and he did it successfully, and I am a little bit surprised that he surrendered. Perhaps there was something that I didn't see. But yeah, or perhaps it was just nerves. It was just first final nerves against Gonzo. Perhaps. Who knows at this point, but I'm pretty damn sure that the remaining matches in this best of 5 between these two players are going to be absolutely immense. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to the channel. And if I'm getting my scheduling right, we should have plenty more games coming this week. Thanks very much for watching. If you're enjoying these casts, the dog's saying goodbye as well. If you're enjoying these casts, then think about joining as a channel member. You get a couple of perks. You get access to a lot of behind the scenes posts that I make in my Discord and on my YouTube channel, and there's some early access that you can get in there, and you can request me to cover particular replays if you want me to cover your games. So they're part of the perks of the channel, you know, trying to get a bit of cash in to support me. I have just purchased new audio equipment. Hopefully it made a difference in the cast. Let me know in your comments down below. Didn't quite spend as much as I initially anticipated, and I left a few comments last week in the cast that I was going to be spending around about $700 on audio equipment. Yeah, we didn't spend that. What happened was I did actually spend it, but then Amazon decided to screw me over, and although it said that everything was in stock, it then, when it came to delivery, I was supposed to receive it on the day, it then decided that it wasn't in stock, so it cancelled my order, and then subsequently put the price up for when it does come back in stock. So good job, Amazon. I decided to cancel that. I went with a much cheaper option, and to be honest, you guys leave me your comments down below, but I feel like the audio is a bit of an improvement, and I'm not quite sure I'm going to spend the extra sort of $500 on getting the ultra cool mixing setup. You'll have to let me know down in the comments below. I think I've spoken for too long, but thanks very much for watching. I thoroughly enjoyed this final. Make sure you don't miss any of the other games. And there you have it, the dog saying goodbye too. Thanks very much for watching. I am Angry Birds. Check me out next time.